Good morning. This is Akashvani. I'm Anuja Kumar with the World News. The headlines. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar calls upon BRICS to reinforce message of peace building and diplomacy in turbulent world. Palestine's ambassador to India, Abdullah Abu Shawesh, praises Narendra Modi government for supporting the Palestinian people. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu slams Western countries at UNGA for recognizing Palestinian statehood. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announces mandatory digital identification card for British citizens and permanent residents by 2029 to work in the country. And in Asia Cup cricket, India beat Sri Lanka in dramatic super over in Dubai to reach the final unbeaten. And now the news in detail. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said that BRICS has stood firm as a strong voice of reason and constructive change at a time when multilateralism is under stress. He stated this while hosting a meeting of the BRICS foreign ministers in New York on the sidelines of the 80th session of the UN General Assembly. The minister said that in a turbulent world, BRICS must reinforce the message of peace building, dialogue, diplomacy, and adherence to the international law. He said that the grouping must amplify its collective call for a comprehensive reform of the principal organs of the United Nations, especially the UN Security Council. Emphasizing the impact of rising protectionism, tariff volatility, and non-tariff barriers on trade flows, Dr. Jaishankar said that BRICS must defend the multilateral trading system. Dr. Jaishankar underlined that technology and innovation will define the next phase of BRICS cooperation. India today delivered a sharp rebuttal to Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's speech at the UN General Assembly, dismissing his remarks as absurd theatrics and asserting that no degree of drama can conceal facts. Exercising the right of reply of India on Mr. Sharif's speech, First Secretary in India's permanent mission to the UN, Petal Gehlot said he once again glorified terrorism that is so central to their foreign policy.
A country long steeped in the tradition of deploying and exporting terrorism has no shame in advancing the most ludicrous narratives to that end. Let us recall that it sheltered Osama bin Laden for a decade, even while pretending to partner in the war against terrorism. Its ministers have just recently acknowledged that they have been operating terrorist camps for decades. It should come as no surprise that once again this duplicity continues, this time at the level of its Prime Minister.
Palestine's ambassador to India, Abdullah Abu Shawesh, has praised the government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi for supporting the Palestinian people. Speaking to media, Mr. Shawesh highlighted that Mr. Modi-led government is supporting the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, which is responsible for aiding Palestinian refugees.
India, under the chairmanship of the current Prime Minister, His Excellency Narendra Modi, is doing also great job to the Palestinian people. India is building right now more than one project, which is a hospital. India and also supporting the United Nations entities that is dealing with the Palestinian refugee. We are fully satisfied, and if there is something that we feel we want to discuss it with the Indian government.
This is Akashvani giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our X handle at AIR News Alerts. And for details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and download the News on AIR app. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ruled out a two-state solution that would create an independent Palestinian state, calling it suicidal for his country. During his speech at the United Nations General Assembly in New York last night, Mr. Netanyahu called the Western nations, including France, Canada and Britain, naive for recognizing the Palestine state. He warned that Israel will finish the job of eliminating Palestinian armed group Hamas in Gaza unless it laid down arms and released the remaining hostages taken during terrorist attack on Israel in 2023. Earlier, scores of delegates walked out in protest ahead of Israel's Prime Minister's speech at the UN General Assembly. As he was escorted to the podium, several countries walked out of the Assembly Hall, while others who stayed on cheered him. New Zealand's Foreign Minister Winston Peters has said that his country is not ready to recognize Palestinian statehood. In his address to the United Nations General Assembly in New York, Mr. Peters outlined New Zealand's position, saying aid must flow and violence must cease before New Zealand will be willing to recognize Palestinian statehood, something he acknowledged was inevitable. Opposition Labour and the Green Party have both strongly condemned the government's decision, calling it cowardly, and warned it places New Zealand on the wrong side of history. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced that British citizens and permanent residents will have to produce a mandatory digital identification card in order to get work, reviving a contentious idea in an effort to show that the government has control over the country's borders. He made the announcement during an international meeting of centre-left politicians in London. Mr. Starmer said the new ID system will be in place before the next election, due by 2029.
This government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
United Nations sanctions on Iran are set to be reimposed this weekend after the UN Security Council failed to adopt a resolution that would have extended the 2015 Iran nuclear deal for 6 months to allow time for diplomacy. The draft resolution tabled by China and Russia won 4 votes in favour and 9 votes against, with 2 abstentions, failing to get the 9 positive votes required for adoption. While Algeria, China, Pakistan and Russia voted in favour of the draft resolution, Guyana and the Republic of Korea abstained. The remaining 9 members of the Security Council voted against it. The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed the Trump administration to withhold $4 billion in foreign aid that had been appropriated by Congress in a preliminary test of President Trump's efforts to wrest the power of the purse from lawmakers. In its brief order, the court's conservative majority allowed the president to cut the funding in part because, it said, his flexibility to engage in foreign affairs outweighed the potential harm faced by aid recipients. In Asia Cup cricket, India defeated Sri Lanka in the last clash of the Super 4 stage in Dubai after a dramatic and intense super over to reach the final of the tournament unbeaten. With the win, Men in Blue have extended their winning streak to 6 matches. In the super over, left-arm pacer Arshdeep Singh took 2 wickets, restricting Sri Lanka to 2 runs. India, needing 3 to win the game, pulled off a win on the first ball itself. Earlier, put into bat, India posted a total of 202 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in stipulated 20 overs. In reply, Pathum Nissanka scored a magnificent century, helping Sri Lanka tie India's total of 202 runs in 20 overs. Pathum Nissanka was declared the player of the match. India will face Pakistan in the summit clash in Dubai tomorrow. The match will begin at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. The second Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Young Authors Conference has culminated in New Delhi with a meaningful dialogue on creativity in the digital age. The 2-day conference was organized by the Ministry of Education in association with the Ministry of External Affairs. And now, before we close, here are the highlights of the bulletin. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar calls upon BRICS to reinforce message of peace building and diplomacy in turbulent world. Palestine's ambassador to India, Abdullah Abu Shawesh, praises Narendra Modi government for supporting the Palestinian people. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu slams Western countries at UNGA for recognizing Palestinian statehood. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announces mandatory digital identification card for British citizens and permanent residents by 2029 to work in the country. And in Asia Cup cricket, India beat Sri Lanka in a dramatic super over in Dubai to reach the final unbeaten. And that is the end of this news bulletin.